fancy. Hi, I'm John from Just Whisky. If you like today's show, please give it the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And speaking of Patreons, thank you so much for the few Patreons that I do have that help support this channel and that are on board on my whiskey journey. And thanks to all the subscribers. Please hit that bell notification so you won't miss anything. But remember, folks, it's just whiskey. Today, I am going to pay homage to this show from a very faithful subscriber that goes under the moniker of Sid Finch. So Sid Finch, this review is for you. All right. Today we are going to be talking about and reviewing the Longmorn 16-year-old modern incarnation. Okay. The bottling date on this newer version is June 24th of 2021. That's when this was bottled. So this is a Longmorn 16-year-old. Comes in at 48%, non-chill filtered, but no mention of color. So they may probably add some E150 to this. Okay. It comes in a very fancy packaging, and they are marketing this for the luxury market, for the connoisseurs, and they use those words in verbiage on the back of the label, which I'm not going to read. But the packaging is a purple box, flips up, and there's a plastic insert in here. Now I'm not going to be able to get back in here, but it's a plastic insert, and on the bottle, it has this faux, which in French means fake, purple leather, very secure binding on the bottom. And you can see it right there. Okay, so they put this plastic in here, I guess, so as not to scuff up that purple thing. And it's also got some magnets on it, so it seals securely. But be careful when you do pick this up, because if you pick it up like this, your bottle might fall out. All right. A little bit of history about Longmorn. It's a Speyside, and a while back it was bought out by Chivas Brothers, which in turn was bought out by Pernod Ricard. The history of Longmorn: in 2007, they discontinued their 15-year-old, and they replaced it with the 16-year-old, which at that time, I believe, was predominantly ex-bourbon. Okay. In 2016, they discontinued that 16 version. And in 2017, they did a relaunch. And they re-released the 16-year-old along with a 23-year-old, which is quite pricey, and a NAS, a non-age stated distiller's choice. And they also have an 18-year-old. Okay. Now, this newer version, from what I've read and from what I've understand, is that this newer version of the 16 is a higher proportion of first fill ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and European oak. So even as it says in the label here, it is matured in 3 types of oak casks. So that's what they are. Ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and European oak. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe the older version of the 16 was predominantly ex-bourbon, and it might have been all ex-bourbon. I've also read that this newer version of the 16 is simply a packaging facelift. Okay. So take that as you may. But yeah, this is with the packaging and the verbiage on here. It is it's marketed to the connoisseur, to the luxury market. They mentioned elegance, okay, and in my area it retails for about $100. A year or two ago it was more like $70 or $80. Everything's gone up. This certainly reflects that. I've also seen this online for as high as $120 to $140, okay, but this review is based on $100 purchase price. And I do think that this would make a great gift, a wedding gift, a birthday gift, a Christmas gift. And I think it's non-peat, it's no peat in here. It's a Speyside, no peat. And I do think that it can appeal to everybody. So you could give this gift to a beginner or someone that's curious about Scotch, since it doesn't have that peat element in there. I think it is quite accessible. But I think it does appeal to the connoisseur because it does offer much complexity. All right, let's get to the review here. You know, if you watch this channel, you know I'm not a big water bug, but this does benefit from water. So, you know, try it as you may, but a few drops of water, I've noticed just by putting a couple of drops of water in there, the nose, the explosion of aromas that come out of this are incredible. If you don't add water, those flavors are very compressed. So I highly recommend adding just a few drops of water to this. Play around with it. Okay. Here we go. Here's to you, Sid. On the nose, a rich vanilla cream, butterscotch, honey, a bit of that perfume floral thing going on, a bit of grape, beeswax, a little bit of bubble gum, but not that juicy fruit gum that I talk about. A little bit of this generic bazooka bubble gum, and a bit of candy cigarettes. That's all there. The two prominent notes, though, are butterscotch and vanilla cream and honey. But everything else is there. It's all there for the taking, folks. Okay, on the palate. Mouth-watering, salty, oily, creamy, honey, a little bit of cinnamon, a light sweetness, and a little bit of that Glen Elgin-ish thing. A little bit of Glen Elgin going on there. Just a little bit. The finish, pleasant, delicate, but it definitely has that sweetness on the palate transitions to a bitter tannin tang. I'm gonna quote that: a bitter tannin tang. Kind of rolls right off the tongue, no pun intended. With a medium plus finish. Yeah. There's a couple of reviewers out there. I don't know which batch they've had. One reviewer is potentially saying this is possibly can be a contender for the whiskey of the year. There are a lot of different batches out there of this. I've heard that the older 15s and 16s, were better. I've never had them, so I can't compare. All I can tell you is that this bottle here that I'm reviewing was bottled on June 24th, 2021, and I'm quite enjoying it. This is something, and you hear other reviewers say this too, that you can just sit back and enjoy without really having to wrap your head around everything. So even if you want to ignore all my nosing and tasting notes, this is something that it really is enjoyable and relaxing. You can share this. You can just kind of chill out with this. But it has more than enough complexities if you really want to do a deep dive into it. So I think this can appeal. I think, again, they are really targeting the connoisseur, the luxury market with this. For me, the score, that's enough thinking. I'm going to give this, for my enjoyment, my palate, my value, it's a solid 88. If my opinion, if you can find this for about $100, 110, might be pushing it, but my opinion, if you can find it for a reasonable price, I think it's worth a go. And it definitely is mouth-watering and salty, and butterscotch and vanilla cream. If any or all of that appeals to you, I'd recommend it. However, something, another Speyside like Craigellachie 13, which you can get for literally half the price of this, they are different, apples and oranges. I would continually buy the Craigellachie 13, always. This, I'd probably buy one more bottle of it and savor it over time. But I think it makes a great gift. I really do. The only thing is it probably has a little bit of artificial coloring, maybe. All right. So hope you enjoyed the review. Please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, consider becoming a Patreon. Thank you so much for the few Patreons that I do have. I really appreciate it. So hats off to you all, and take care, folks.